Mr. Russo played Carlo in The Godfather, and it was a role that is never going to be forgotten in cinematic history.
Not for good reason.
If you did not know Frank Costello, your life was going to be different.
And if I didn't have polio, it would have been different. If I didn't get a radio, I would have never met Sinatra. The fourth head of hair I shampooed was Marilyn Monroe. So I'm massaging her hair, she's moaning, my mind's going crazy. I get an erection, forget about it. And I almost got fired, as you know, with Brando. So I get right in his face. I said, let me just tell you something, Mr. Brando. Pay attention to what I'm gonna tell you. If you get me fired, I'm gonna suck on your heart right here. You're gonna bleed out here today. That's the reading of the book. That's the book.
This is the original Godfather by Mario Puzo.
That when Sinatra, Sammy Davis, G. Martin opened my club. This is the last picture ever taken of Marilyn Monroe alive.
Oh my God, and that's you in the picture.
That's me. And remember, I'm his new uncle. You better subscribe or you're gonna find a horse's head in your bed.
We're family now. How's it going, everybody? It's your host, Shane V, and today we are in New York City filming with the Godfather legend actor, Gianni Russo. Mr. Russo, it's an honor to have you on the show.
Well, thank you for coming all this way. It's amazing.
Well, it's definitely worth the trip. When I was 13 years old, my friend showed me a movie called The Godfather, and now I'm sitting with a Godfather star.
Well, it's funny because that was my first movie, so it was your first movie, it's my first movie, so
It's both
there's
of ours.
something in common there. And my first teacher was Marlon Brando.
The legend.
So if I can give you any pointers, it'd be my pleasure.
And I'd take all of them. Mr. Russo played Carlo in The Godfather, and it was a role that is never going to be forgotten in cinematic history.
Not for good reason. I was beating up a pregnant woman.
And then you took a beating from James Ken.
Only in the movies.
Only in the movies.
Jimmy can only beat me in the movies. Jimmy can't.
So this episode is definitely going to feel more like a movie than just a show episode, because we're going to be talking about some real legends. We're going to talk about Frank Sinatra, Marilyn Monroe, Marlon Brando, Al Pacino, Francis Ford Coppola, and so much more.
Well, you have to add 3 popes and 6 presidents, so don't leave them out.
No, we definitely won't. And Mr. Russo, from what I could tell, you're not only an actor. So you do business, you do singing, you ran casinos. There's just so much to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a 90-minute special then, if you're going to talk about it all. But I was taught early on by a great guy, and you probably never even heard of this guy, Jack Benny. And he said, always remember show business. Business is the bigger word. Stay in business, do the show on the side. And I've always done it. And I had the greatest mentors in the world.
Yeah, and it's worked for him. He's done 67 films.
Yeah. 67 films, which is insane. And I'm not even an actor. And I produced 200 hours of television and did about another 200. Episodic. I just liked doing it. It was my ego.
Yeah.
I didn't do it for any other reason. I didn't do it for money. I learned to live without money years ago. It's a great secret to have. So to me, it was the pleasure all the time.
And then now I want to talk a little bit about Mr. Russo's childhood and the difficult past that you had.
I have a reputation and a history of turning lemons into lemonade.
Yeah.
And if I didn't get polio in 1949, I don't think I'd be where I am, especially in this building, because this is Mr. Costello's building. And I met him because I was selling ballpoint pens on the street. So I would take those 5 years in that hospital ward any day. I wouldn't change 1 hour of my life. I think there's very few people that can say that. So those 5 years taught me, it gave me a resilience, it gave me a determination. I met Sinatra indirectly on my 7th birthday through a radio that I got to meet later. I mean, so you have to have tragedy to understand.
Exactly. That's why I brought this up in the first place. So you're 6 years old and you get polio, the same disease that killed so many people. And
oh my God. The epidemic during that time was, I was part of the experiment of the assault vaccine.
And you were taken away from your parents, isolated for 5 years, and one day on the radio you heard Frank Sinatra's name being mentioned, and actually that you were born on the same day as him.
Yeah, I mean, it's ironic because nobody was coming to see me. It was my birthday. I was already there for 5 months, which seemed like 5 years. And Dolores Barone, a candy striper, It's a nurse in training, these young
Yeah.
girls. I don't even know if they have them anymore. But she was Carlo Gambino's niece.
Yeah.
And Carlo Gambino, my family had long ties back in Sicily. So he said, there's a kid in the neighborhood, take care of him. So she used to come give me the extra Jell-O or pudding at night, sometimes even a hug, which meant so much to me.
Because you really had no one around you to
Nobody.
support you. Yeah.
Nobody.
Not many people can handle that.
No, and a lot of people didn't. I watched
Yeah.
a lot of kids go. They just gave up. But then she, on the night before my birthday, December 11th, she brought me a transistor radio. And early in the morning, I turned it on, WNEW, I'll never forget it. And they were talking about Frank Sinatra all day.
Yeah.
And when I heard that I had the same birthday as Frank Sinatra, Italian American from Hoboken, lower middle class family, it gave me, I said, well, if he could do it, I could do it. And he was creating riots at that time at the Paramount, doing 8 to 12 shows a day. How do you do that? And people, it was an amazing time. But then I just determined to get out of there. I had to get out.
There was some sort of connection between you and Sinatra, and you've mentioned before that you got moved to the window.
That took a long time.
So you looked out that window, you heard Frank Sinatra being mentioned, and you're like, I'm gonna become Frank Sinatra one day. I'm gonna be a star one day.
I tried to.
And
I did pretty good though.
We're
Even
sitting
Frank
here
said
today.
it.
We're sitting here today, and we're talking about all of these things. I think you succeeded.
No, it's good. No, and he became a good friend of mine and a mentor later on. Because I met him, again, because once I got out, and I'll let them read the book, Godfather, Hollywood Godfather. I don't want to talk about tragedies and stuff like that. This I always talk about because it's an inspiration for kids. If you have a dream, go out, be determined and good. Look at here, I'm still doing stuff
You're
at
doing it,
77, man.
The
That's
stuff
crazy.
you mentioned to me that is upcoming, just like tomorrow. You have stuff
Oh
coming
yeah, tomorrow. It's crazy. No, I mean this week I did 2 podcasts, I did 6 news interviews.
Yeah.
All over the world. And tomorrow being the anniversary, I don't want to date your show, of the assassination of JFK.
Exactly.
There's a big news break tomorrow that something came out about it that I had something new about.
So I wanted to bring up Frank Sinatra because Frank Sinatra means so much to me, and he's definitely my favorite artist of all time.
You're a young man, though. How'd you get involved with Sinatra?
There was just something about it. It started off in movies. I listened to his music. Then nowadays, you got Shazam, and I was like, what is this? And I just started listening to his albums, and just, there's a connection.
Oh, that's right. That's what it takes. The guy inspires you. That's all it is.
Yep.
I mean, we spent so much time together. He even baptized my last son, Luciano. And, but the only thing with Sinatra, he's a bad drunk, man.
I've heard of that.
I mean,
Angry,
nasty man.
bad temper, fighter.
Man, he's a fighter. Hold me back. There's nobody hit him. Forget about it. No, at an early time in my life, I forgot where we were in some bar late at night, and he went to smack me.
Yeah, I know you guys have had your ups and downs.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to talk a lot more about that later on, but you and Sinatra have had ups and downs.
Well, we're both Sagittarians. But I'm a gentleman, always am. I mean, you'll never see me abuse somebody unless they get stupid. But he went to smack me. I'm saying, what's this? Because now he thinks he's a tough guy. Forget about it.
Yeah.
And
I want to go back to the polio situation. You get out of the hospital and you go straight to making some sort of revenue. You go to sell ballpoint pens on the street.
well, first I went to Magnati's Bakery.
Okay.
And the reason I went there was a friend of my grandfather's. And I didn't know what I was going to go. I was so jaded about my family, and I couldn't understand why they didn't come. How do you tell a kid?
Well, I want to ask this. Was it because they couldn't come, or is it just because they didn't want to?
Well, they couldn't come, but to me, if I want to see somebody, I'll find a way.
Yeah.
I'll get a job in the hospital. Hello. No, I mean, see,
like
that's what the thing, that confusion of, understand, put yourself as a 6 or 7-year-old kid and you're quarantined in a mental institution.
I really
You
can't.
should walk past it, it's still there. You go to 30th Street, the old hospital's still there. It's scary. If you see it at night, it's like, I think it's haunted. I mean, it's crazy.
I really can't believe that a 6-year-old would be able to battle through something like that.
I know. Well, A lot of them didn't. A lot of them. I watched 23 kids die there, that's a lot of kids. You know, while people are watching Howdy Doody and Cowboys and Indians, I'm watching these kids
Actually die in front of
turn
your
into
eyes.
vegetables, man. But that's how I got the window. I had to wait for somebody to die
And
to
then you
get
get
the
the
window
window.
seat, the window bed. And I just wanted to look outside. And the first thing I saw, because I was on Mulberry Street all my life, and then I came there, and then I looked out, and the first thing I saw was the Empire State Building, because I was on 30th Street and the East End. And right out my window, there it was. And that's how I got close with Marilyn later on. We'll talk about that.
So when you're selling ballpoint pens, something life-changing happens to you, and you meet Mr. Frank Costello.
Well, it didn't happen right away. I was there about 4 or 5 months, and I was selling them downtown in the business district, Wall Street and all that. And Mr. Leo Rabinowitz, who had the stationery store on Delancey Street, the pens just came out. Before that were ink pens, you had ink.
Yeah,
so
there
ballpoint
was
pens
no
was a
ballpoint.
big thing. So with that, I used to go and sell them to all the people in the office buildings. And then I got exhausted. I'd walk up to the desk. They wouldn't even say anything. They opened the drawer. They had like 6 of my pens already. So I figured I'd take the train, and I did. I took the N train uptown, and I got off on 59th Street. And I'm in front of the Sherry Netherlands Hotel, which is ironic. I live 3 blocks from there now, all this time. And
It's a very good neighborhood.
oh yeah, I love this name, man. Forget about it. No, but the thing is, now here comes this guy every day. He's walking down the street, touches my left shoulder, gives me $1, $2, $3. Never took a pen. Give me some words of wisdom.
Appreciates the hustle.
And kept going, you know. Then one day, I used to go to Precious Blood Church, still down in the neighborhood, because I was sleeping at McKnight's Bakery at night. And I come out of the clubhouse, because old man Gambino always had coffee at Ferrara's. He didn't like it in the clubhouse. So he'd be in Ferrara's, and I had a respect for even sending me to Transistor Radio and telling his niece to look after me. I never forgot that. So I'd always go, you know, pay my respects. So I'm coming out, and there's a rabbit's foot. In fact, if you go to Little Italy while you're here, right next door, the Catholic store is still there, right next to Ferrara's. It's there 120 years, the store. And in the window, they had a Lagorn, the horn that for the Molokia. You see a lot of Italians wear horns.
The pepper-looking thing.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's
yeah.
called a Lagorn. This one had a hunchback on it. So I
not good
went
luck.
in. I said, Joe, what's that about? How come that's got a hunchback on it? He said, well, Sicilians are superstitious of touching cripples. Well, it was like I got struck by lightning. Now I figure why this guy's touching me. I thought he liked me. So now I'm going to the train, and they were selling rabbit's feet, pink ones, turquoise ones. I bought him like a pink one, I think. I put it in my pocket, and I'm waiting for him to come. And he came, he goes to touch my shoulder, I moved. He goes to touch my shoulder again, I moved. He said, what are you doing? I said, I know what you're doing. I said, I thought you liked me. Now understand, I'm like 12 or 13 years old.
Yeah.
Costello was called the ambassador. He controlled the United States. These guys, Carlo Gambino, Frank Costello, Maya Lansky, Tony Accardo, created the syndicate.
The Chicago.
Syndicate.
All around.
Controlled all the families in New York and Chicago, New Orleans. And this is the guy I'm talking to. So he turns to this guy, I thought it was his friend, it was his bodyguard, Blackie. He said, you believe this kid? That's what's there to believe. I said, you come here, you come touch me like I'm a freak? What is this? Give me a few dollars. He says, what's your name? I told him my name. So he says, who's Angelo Russo to you? That's my great uncle. He said, oh yeah, when's the last time you saw him? I said, what's this, a quiz show? He said, what do you mean? I said, why are you asking me that question? When's the last time I saw him? I said, I never saw him. He said, why? I said, they hung him in 1947. So he looked at Blackie, he says, he knows him.
He knows who he is.
Hello.
Not fooling around.
But your audience is going to find out how I knew. Angelo Russo, in 1919, sent Carlo Gambino, Frank Costello, and Charlie Luciano to America to join the Moderato gang, because he was abusing Italian Americans. And they took it over, and they made the 5 families in New York. And it was that guy.
That guy, you're related to that man.
That's right. So then he says, he said, Blackie, take that. I had a cigar box with my pens and money in it. I said, you ain't taking my cigar box. He said, you can't do this no more. He said, I knew you, Uncle. I said, so what? Who says I want to work for you? He says, I want you to work for me. He gave me 3 $100 bills in the early 50s for my maybe
It's like 3,000 right now.
Maybe 30,000.
Yeah.
I had $12 worth of pens and money in there. And he says, you know where the Waldorf is? I said, yeah. He's be at the, you know where the clock in the lobby? I said, everybody knows that clock. He's be there tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock. I was there every morning at 11 o'clock for 20-something years. I was there. Or if I was on a trip, that was something else. But every morning at 11 o'clock, I was there. Changed my life.
So yeah, you do admit that if you did not know Frank Costello, your life was going to be different.
And if I didn't have polio, it would have been different. If I didn't get a radio, I would have never met Sinatra.
So these little things and these little connections led you to where you are today and what you have achieved.
Well, the first time I met Sinatra, I was like 14 years old.
Yeah.
And I used to go down in the kitchen to the Copa. So he sees me walking through the Copacabana. So he looks at the manager, Julie. He says, Julie's like, who's this? He said, no, it's Costello's boy. When I heard that for the first time, I felt I was 10 feet tall. And Sinatra, they kept rehearsing. So when I waited for them to take a break, so as soon as the musicians took a break, I went over to him, and he was just about to light another cigarette, and I lit it for him.
For Sinatra?
Yeah. He said, what's your name? I said, The Kid. He said, who gave you that name? I said, Mr. Costello. He said, I'll never ask you again.
If it's Costello, it's off limits.
Oh, yeah. So then I said to him, I said, I have to tell you, you saved my life. He said, how'd I do that? And I told him my story, and I heard him singing and all that. And he
Shared birthdays.
He really got emotional. He said, how'd you get out? I said, I just got out. I can't tell you how I got out. I didn't want to scare the guy. I don't want to scare your audience either. Yeah. But I got out, and I built up my body I was mixing 50-pound bags of flour at night, not realizing what I was doing. I wouldn't use the mixer, but I wanted to build up my body.
With muscle and strength.
And the good news, working in a bakery with the dry heat and all the flour in the air, there was no condensation. So I got total mobility now that I would have never had. But again, Frank Costello owned the Copa. So everyone keeps building the blocks.
Copa was Costello's.
Owned Costello, yeah, owned it, man. That's
just like when I walked in here, he's like, do you like the building? And I'm like, yeah, I love it. And he's like, this was Costello's.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, that's okay. I'm just sitting here in Costello's building with Gianni Russo.
No, but the interesting thing is that they had so much money. Him and Joe Kennedy during Prohibition, they amassed maybe $100 million each. Then in the 30s, so they were buying property, and he was buying properties like this because they were basically bookmaking parlors. Like my bedroom here had 24 bookmakers with a blackboard on phones, hardwires. In fact, what I've done, I've remodeled this place, I don't know how many times. I never take those Alexander Bell boxes down. I still have the phone number, the master phone number to this house. It's over 75 years. But see, that's why I'm saying, the connections. So even with your audience, anybody aspiring to do what you're doing, I'm 17, like, look what you're doing, it's amazing.
You know, I believe in those connections, and I don't know about you, but I am a spiritual person. When it comes to stuff like that, I do believe that every little thing leads you to where you are today.
I don't care if you believe in a monkey, you got to believe in something other than yourself. I'm very spiritual. I mean, you go in every house has an altar in my bedroom. I mean, I pray. I mean, I just did I paint a lot. So I did the crucifixion of Christ life size in gold leaf on my wall as penance. No, I'm crazy. I just painted the Blessed Mother now at his knees, trying to take her son off the cross. I mean, these are things that are really you got to feel to do.
You got to feel it, yeah. There's a certain feeling that you do get. So how'd you get into trouble?
I really wasn't in trouble. I was supposed to be in school. I was only 15.
Yeah.
So I never saw a guy. All the cops wore blue uniforms. This guy had a brown uniform on. And I was just left Lindy's. I picked up an envelope. I was supposed to go meet Costello at Toots Shaw's. They were there every afternoon. And the guy says to me, why aren't you in school? And I laughed at him. I said, school? I had about 10,000 in my pocket. I said, I don't go to school.
More than he makes.
What do you make? Probably made 8,000 a whole year. But, so he gives me a ticket. So he's, where do you live? So I gave my grandmother's address. So I got the ticket and I walked into Toots Shaw's. I said, Frank, I got a ticket. He said, where'd you get a ticket for? Walking too fast. I said, no. I said, the guy gave me a ticket. And he looked at it. He's a truant officer. He said, how old are you? I said, I'm 15. He said, how many years you working for me? I said, about 2 or 3 years. He said, well, you got to go to school till you're 16. I said, I don't want to go to school. He said, I'll straighten it out. So the next day I meet him, he gives me a piece of paper and he says, go to Wilford Academy. It's in your route anyway. Because Wilford was on top of Lindy's, right on Broadway and 52nd Street. He said, go up there, just sign in the morning. When you're 16, don't go no more. That's what I did. So the first morning I go there, I sign in, and I look over the lady. There's like 30, 40 girls, and they're little girls. So I said, wait a minute, I don't have to see him until tomorrow.
That's like the best thing for you.
I started hanging out there. But thank God I did, because then Kenneth and Mark Sinclair, Kenneth was the best hairdresser in the world at the time. He was Jackie Kennedy's hairdresser. He was only a senator at the time. And they were looking for shampoo boys.
Yeah.
And if you weren't there, you get the hours like you were going to school, but you make tips. And I'm saying, wait a minute. I used to go past that place all the time. The women that walked in there with the furs, with high society, limousines, 56th and Park Avenue. Lily Daché was fabulous. So now I'm there. And, you know, you're standing attention. The fourth head of hair I shampooed was Marilyn Monroe. I couldn't believe it.
So
I'm
15-year-old you.
Yeah.
That's like me shampooing Kylie Jenner's hair, or
Yeah, for you, Kylie Jenner, yeah. Oh yeah, and she's got money. No, but
More than
yeah,
that.
that's what I'm, but not only that, at nighttime, when it got cold, I used to go to, I was always in the theaters. And again, the theater I went to all the time was Paramount. And Paramount made my first movie, The Godfather.
See these little connections.
Oh no, it's all, I believe that thread.
I believe
man.
it too.
And I watched Some Like It Hot maybe 50 times.
With Marilyn in it.
Marilyn in it, I'm saying to myself. And I used to get aroused looking at, you know, a 15-year-old kid. Now she's laying there in my shampoo basin. And I don't know how long I was looking at her, because she's facing the ceiling. And she said, is somebody gonna wash my hair? And I said, oh, I'm sorry, and I went over there. And, you know, I started washing her hair, test the water on her wrist, do all the things they tell me to do, read the card, you know, rinse what she wants. And she liked this firm massage. So I'm massaging her hair, she's moaning, my mind's going crazy. And I get an erection, forget about it. I must have been poking her in the ear, because, you know, I'm leaning over and, well, we know the configuration of a shampoo basin. Now I gotta dry her hair and walk her to the station for Kenneth. And all these guys were looking at me and they knew what was going on.
Walking Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah, with an erection through through a salon. And that's how I met her. And then I was with her for 4 years. Great friendship though. And I was there the last 3 days of her life at Cal Neva.
That I want to talk about too. So you had all this good time with Marilyn. You guys built a personal relationship, and then.
Well, Marilyn and I, what happened was, Costello, unbeknownst to me, was taking care of her, because she ran away and came to New York for a year. Yeah. She wanted to become a serious actress, because all they were doing these sex movies they were putting her in. The Xanax were running the 20th century at the time, and she wanted to be known as a thespian. So she came here to study with Strasberg.
But,
right, and she was staying at the Waldorf. I didn't know that.
Another connection.
Another connection. So he's saying, I'm going to be gone this weekend. Somebody's up in the suite. Check on him the weekend. He said, don't go up there before noon. I said, no problem. So the first time I knock on the door, she opens the door. He said, Gianni, what a surprise. I said, well, Mr. C told me to, you know. She said, oh, Mr. C, please, come on in. I was never in a hotel room in my life. And she's in a terry cloth robe. He said, I just ordered room service. I don't know what room service is. What are they going to do? All of a sudden, all these carts came in. The food, everything. Champagne. And she said, I have a glass of champagne. I said, I can't drink, I'm 15. She started giggling.
15 years
You
old.
can do anything you want. I said, so I had a glass of champagne. And I was like buzzed already. And then she finished her lunch. She said, I'm going to go take a bath. I said, I'm going to go downstairs and wait for you when you're ready for me to come up. And I don't know what I thought maybe she wanted me to do it. I don't know what she wanted. She said, no, stay. So she goes, and she takes me by the hand, walks me into the bathroom, major bathroom, runs the water, and she asked me to brush her hair. Now, again, I'm 15 years old. I can remember it like yesterday. She dropped the terry cloth, kept herself covered, but still, I'm looking at her in the mirror and I'm brushing her hair. I'm saying, what am I doing over here? I thought maybe I was dreaming.
Which 15-year-old would be able to do that? Like the polio thing. Which 6-year-old would be able to handle that? 15-year-old, like I said, me in front of Kylie Jenner, and Kylie Jenner is in a robe. I probably wouldn't be able to handle that.
I didn't almost, believe me. But all I would say is this. As we progressed in the day, she said, I'm going to take a bath. I said, I'm leaving. She said, no.
You're staying.
I'm staying. And she drops her robe. Well, that was a Saturday afternoon. I want to be nice, because the lady was a very close friend of mine.
Yeah.
I left on Monday.
Would you guys do have a long talk for 3 days? A really long talk?
Yeah.
Okay.
She was like a wounded little girl. She wanted what I wanted at the same time in different locations. You're familiar with the Valley in California.
Yeah.
She was in an orphanage at 12 in the Valley, and she used to look at the window that I wanted, she had, and she looked out and saw the water tower of Warner Brothers.
Okay, I live very close by.
And she said, someday I'm going to become an actress. And I said, someday I'm going to be uptown. And I'm still here.
It's that certain, like we're talking about, it's that certain, I don't even know if it's like a God-given connection.
Oh, it's definitely.
There's
like
something.
I said, me, it's God. I know it's God.
Yeah.
I've been shot, run over, kidnapped by Pablo Escobar.
We're going to talk about that later.
This has got to be a 3-hour show. No, I'm teasing.
2 hours.
No, but.
Yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying. I believe in God until now. I mean, I'm surrounded by it. I'm so blessed. I mean, think about, you can't even imagine, most people can't imagine it. When people read this book, they come looking for me. Like Patrick Bet-David.
Yeah.
He called me from Dallas, Texas. He says, I read your book. I want to come to your house with a camera crew. I said, okay, for
Please.
what? And I didn't know who the guy was. Like, I don't know who you were. You called me, and you told me who you were, and I'm starting out. I said, come. And here you are. I didn't know who this guy was at all. I don't watch TV. I don't have any time. I'm always doing things. Yeah, I'm not really working. To me, it's a game. It's a pleasure. Like right now, I'm opening 4,000 grocery stores in the United States. That's crazy. But I'm doing it. I love it. I'm on the phones all day. So he came, and from that show, I think, aired in April, and I just breaking 1 million views.
Yeah, it's close to 1 million.
I know.
I'm a big supporter of Patrick and a big follower of Patrick. Yeah. Patrick is definitely someone I'd like to meet in the future.
Oh, I could arrange it.
Please do so.
I'm telling you, he would take a liking to you. You remind me a lot of him. You know what's so ironic? I knew his mother and father.
You know what's also ironic? We're both Armenian.
I know that.
Yeah.
But his mother and father were in Tehran, and his mother and father were good friends with General Murdaba when the Pasha wanted to leave Tehran before the Khomeini took over. Me and my partner went over, and we fleeced 6 banks, $86 million in 6 hours we took out of there. I mean, that's right. He knew this. When his mother, because his mother's alive, thank God. Yeah. He said, Ma, you won't believe, I did an interview with this guy, Gianni Russo. She said, I know him. He said, everybody knows. My mother knows him. He thought that was ironic. But no, it's all those dots. It's what it's about.
Like we talked about.
And it pays off. For me, it's all it does.
So now I want to talk about
Godfather.
Godfather.
The world knows it, yeah.
And how it basically happened for you. Because it's definitely an interesting story that he had no acting, from what I know, no acting experience, nothing. And there you know, you see him in a movie, in my opinion, the best movie of all time.
But the funniest thing that I've never acted in my life. In this movie, we're still talking about it. And that's my first movie. It's crazy. What happened was, the book came out in 1969. And you know what's ironic? That's the 61st copy of the Godfather book on that counter. That's the original book.
Oh, that's the original Godfather?
Hello.
Guys, this house is like a museum. I mean, this stuff
I'm a relic. That's why everything around here is all because I brought it here. No, but that book, I had somebody read it to me because I can't read. I'm illiterate. I never went back to school. And I said to myself, as you're telling me the story, I could play Michael or Sonny or Carlo. I could play these guys. In fact, I brought Carlo in as maybe only Carlo. I thought Michael or Sonny for sure. So I was shooting so much stuff because I owned all these stores and commercials. They gave me my own show because I was buying so much time. So I used that camera crew and I shot a test for Michael, test for Sonny, test for Carlo, and I shipped it to Paramount. But I didn't just ship it. I had a 65 Bentley limousine before anybody even had these cars. And I had a Chinese chick chauffeur.
Chinese chick was driving it.
Drive my car.
Okay.
You got to do it right.
Yeah.
I sent it to Paramount from Vegas with this test. I said, only give it to Al Ruddy. And I made some connections in the studio to get a drive on because I wanted him to see this car. They told me he was a car freak and he liked Asian women. And
So you got both, the Asian chick and the Bentley limousine.
Yeah. Well, I only stretched it 18
okay.
inches, but it was only 18 inches, a lot. Too.
Still a lot, yeah.
Only for one person, me. But the thing is, so she brings it in, they run the test, and he wrote me a letter saying, we're sorry we misled you. We're really using actors, known actors.
Yeah.
And then Joe Colombo starts picketing the FBI building. He created a league, anti-defamation league. He didn't like the way they were, projecting Italian Americans in movies and all that. And we all say, wait a minute, this is Joe Colombo. He's a boss of his own family.
Yeah.
He's picketing the FBI building. So I fly here, because I knew Joe. I said, Joe, what are you, going crazy? And I knew the old man was going nuts. They called him in a couple of times, you got to stop this. I said, Joe, you're selling a little button, to raise money for $1. I said, why don't you read the book? Have Barry Schlotnick, he just hired this young attorney, I met the kid. I said, have him read the book. What you don't like in the book, let them change for the movie, and you can make a lot of money. And I know mob guys, it's always about money. He said, well, how are we gonna make money? I said, if you okay to film, and okay the neighborhoods and the unions to work on a film, then you're gonna ask for all the world premieres in every major city, and you get that money. I said, you could do a couple $100,000. That was it. He said, you could do this?
Like,
I said, no. I said, I was on, and that's one thing I don't. You know why I'm alive? I don't lie. I said, I don't know if I can. Give me permission, and I'll go talk to them. Because I didn't know if I could do it.
Yeah.
So he talks to Barry. He says, Barry, what do you think? He said, why not? Let him go. So I went up. He was on Madison Avenue. I walked up Gulf and Westland, which is right on Columbus Circle, on 59th Street and West End. I'm in the lobby waiting for Al Ruddy and all these guys to come.
Yeah.
And they see me from the test. They said, what are you doing here? Because they sent me a letter, I can't be in it. I said, well, you got a problem. I think I could straighten it out. They said, oh, we have no problem. I said, let me tell you something. You got a problem.
You have a problem.
So I went up and talked to them. I'm giving the fast version. I went up to talk to them. He said, you could bring him? Yeah. I said, yeah, I'm going to have him here. I said, you read the book, obviously. You're going to have a sit down right here. When? They said, 9:30? I said, 9:30. I leave, I go back down. I said, I got it on. I said, but what I want you to do, that's when he brought Lenny Montana, who played Luca Brasi. I said, I want you to bring everybody. He brought Lenny Montana, Butters, Chico. They came in with the original cast of The Godfather. Yeah. So we come into the room now, and I'm sitting with Joe and all these guys, and they're on the other side of the room. And we went through the whole thing, and they agreed. So now I said, Joe, what about me? He said, yeah, what about him? He said, well, we're going to give you a part. I said, let me just tell you something. And I was talking to Stanley Jaffe. He was the president of Paramount at the time. I said, let me tell you something, Mr. Jaffe. This movie ain't getting made without me. So you got this guy up here because I brought him. I said, Joe, is this movie being made if I'm not in it? He said, no. So I said, who's playing Michael? What I'm about to tell you, you won't believe. They said James Caan.
I've heard of that before.
No, it's true.
I don't think that would work out very well.
But I'm just letting you know.
Yeah.
They said James Caan. I said, who's playing Sonny. Carmine Caridi, who was a big Broadway actor doing The Man from La Mancha, they thought Sonny should be a bigger guy.
Yeah.
And then I didn't know Francis Ford Coppola was in the behind the scenes already trying to get Michael the part. So what they did, they bought Michael from Columbia, the gang that couldn't shoot straight, and they gave Carmine Caridi that, and they gave Sonny, they gave James Sonny. So they said, who's playing Carlo? They said, nobody yet. I said, I'm playing Carlo.
You're playing Carlo.
And they said, and they were looking around. I said, Joe, am I playing Carlo? He says, he's playing Carlo. That's how I got the fella.
And like that, you were in the greatest movie of all time, man.
Again, but that's my life, see?
And there's so many like
That's crazy.
historical scenes of you in that movie that are gonna be in cinema history forever.
Yeah.
You know, whether you beat up
Wait till you see the new version.
There's a new version coming out?
Yeah, 2022 is 50 years.
Oh, there's a 50th anniversary.
And now that The Irishman came out and it was 3.5
Yeah.
hours, Francis's first cut of The Godfather was 3.5 hours. The exhibitors say, we'll never show this movie. So they cut it down. They're recutting Godfather 1 for the 50th anniversary.
Oh, so
That's
there's gonna be an
gonna be
additional
insane.
30 minutes.
Hello.
I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, I'll be there. But it doesn't stop. And then, I had the foresight. They were making no money on the brand. They were selling coffee cups and T-shirts. So I put a company together. I'm the brand ambassador to this company. We own everything that's digestible. Because Don Corleone Family Selections.
See all of it here.
Jenko olive oil, the can that, in Godfather 2, they came with the can. We own the can. I went to the same manufacturer in Palermo, Sicily. They make that oil. They made that oil then. Everything is authentic. And the authenticity of this is insane. What's in the can, the label outside, and now, by next year, I'm in 18,000 supermarkets, just in the United States.
So like we mentioned before, not only an actor, but a businessman and
Well, you gotta.
singer, everything.
It's funny. If you don't have the money, you may be just dreaming. You gotta have fuel. I always say, without the fuel, where you go?
You can't fly anywhere.
No. So that's, but you gotta be lucky too, and believe in what you can do it. If you, I did it. And I almost got fired, as you know, with Brando. When we got the first call sheet for rehearsal, they said no eye contact with Marlon Brando. Don't go near him during rehearsal.
Because Brando at that time was probably like the greatest actor.
Oh my God, he was a thespian of thespians.
Yeah.
Created
Created method acting.
Not just method acting, but he studied with Stella Adler, Lee Strasberg, everybody. This guy, look at On the Waterfront. This guy did movies nobody did. And great actor, and all these young kids wanted him. So soon we have the first break, he came over to me. So I said, I'm not in trouble. And I'm the only guy, I'm dressed in a Brioni suit. And I got the car outside. They all came in station wagon. They all said, who is this guy?
Who's this kid?
And I was 26 at the time. So he says to me, you're a big TV actor. I said, no. He says, you got a big movie coming out. I said, no. He said, well, you're not on Broadway. I know everybody on Broadway. I said, you're right again. I said, where you going with this? He said, who'd you study with? I said, study what? And with that, he called Coppola over. And I didn't break down the script. I just wanted to be in the movie. I didn't care. He said, Francis, this guy's playing Carlo. And he was very reluctant because he didn't have anything to do with me to get in this movie. He says, I know. He says, he marries my daughter, gets my oldest son, Sonny, killed. My son, Michael, is drawn into the family. He's got to be a great actor. And I'm saying to myself, this guy's trying to get me fired.
Yeah, you did all of this and now...
And I didn't know protocol on the set. So I dismissed the director. You can't do it, dismiss the director, even in rehearsal. I said, Francis, go over there a minute. And then I did the next sacrilege. I put my arm around Brando. They said, don't look at him. Now
Don't even look at him in the eyes.
No, I walked him down. I didn't want to embarrass him in front of everybody. Because Patsy's on 119th Street, they used to have Zig-a-Nick games in there at night. The game wasn't going on during the day. Because I used to go up there all the time, bring envelopes up for they needed more money. So I took him back there because I didn't want to, embarrass him. So I get right in his face. I said, let me just tell you something, Mr. Brando. Pay attention to what I'm going to tell you. If you get me fired, I'm going to suck on your heart right here. You're going to bleed out here today. Now, do you understand that? And I had some fancy words in there that I don't want to say.
Yeah, you don't want to say over the camera.
And he stepped back and he said, that was brilliant. He thought I was
He thinks
acting.
you're acting.
That's how I got the part. And he told Francis then, he said, this guy's great.
He's good, yeah, he can
He's
act.
perfect. And he came to work with me every day.
So you guys built a good connection after.
Oh my God, yeah. Even afterward, I was with him until he died. I hate to say Michael Jackson, Liz Taylor and I were, because I'm not gay, but we were with him until he died.
And he was a good person.
No.
No?
No. Brando? Nuts. No. Totally insane. No, most of these people like De Niro, these are icons.
The icons,
They're
yeah.
not normal people. I mean, Brando is totally insane. I gave him his biggest paycheck, in The Freshman.
You know, that was one thing I was confused about. Why didn't Brando, because, there was so much makeup and stuff put on Brando in 72 for Godfather 1. Why didn't Brando just play Godfather, Don Corleone in Godfather 2?
They wanted him to.
Then what, do you know what happened?
Do it.
He didn't want to do it?
He didn't even come back for Godfather 2 in the flashbacks when it was his birthday. He was so mad at them because they gave him $250,000 for the movie.
Oh, that's it.
And topped him out on royalties at $1 million. Because he needed the part to resurrect his career.
Yeah.
But they cut him out at $1 million. And he said, screw them, I'm not coming to do anything for them.
He didn't even take the Oscar.
No, he wouldn't do it. We wouldn't talk to him about it. But that's when we made the move. Michael LaBelle and Andrew Bergman, we did 3 pictures together. We did Chances Are, Striptease with Demi Moore, good movie, and The Freshman, good movie. You should look at it.
I really should.
And Bruno Kirby was brilliant. Remember, he played Clemenza in 2?
Bruno, yeah, and he was in Donnie
Now,
Brasco.
he died.
Yeah, I know. He died young.
young.
Yeah, that was sad. He's a talented actor.
No. That's the book. That's the book.
This is the original Godfather by Mario Puzo. That's crazy to think about. This is the original.
My gift to you. And I'll
Thank
sign
you,
it.
Mr. Russo. Thank you. I have to read this as soon as possible. This is the original Hollywood Godfather book. This book is, I already can tell what it's going to be. This 1-hour conversation, I could only imagine in a couple 100-page book.
Newspaper clipping that went Sinatra, Sammy Davis, and G. Martin opened my club, State Street, Vegas.
Oh, wow. Which year was this?
That was 1980.
Huh.
I had that club for 7 years until Pablo Escobar's friend came and visited me.
That story you guys have to watch in the episode. Is this at the Tropicana?
No, that's a Tiffany's Tropicana.
Okay.
This was State Street. That was my last big club. Tropicana, Elvis and Sammy opened up for me.
Oh, yeah.
This one is Dean,
And
Frank,
Sinatra.
and
Okay,
Sinatra.
I always get those two confused. So Elvis was probably a crazy character.
Oh my God, it was crazy. He
Yeah.
created lines there every night for me. And I only opened that club 6 hours for 3 days. 18 hours a week, it was at midnight to 6 in the morning, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. The only person in a nightclub for 16 hours a week. People say, how are you gonna make money? They couldn't believe how much money I made. And this is really important. This is obviously
The Pope.
the last Pope I met. I didn't want to meet this guy. But I've known 3 popes up to this time. And as my grandchildren tell me, because he's a saint now. He's Saint John Paul.
Yeah.
So I'm the only guy you know that knew a saint.
You knew a saint. He touched the saint.
That's him. And he gave me this little piece of jewelry here. That's what this was. It's right there in my crest. This is the last picture ever taken of Marilyn Monroe alive.
Oh my God, and that's you in the picture.
That's me. 3 days before they killed her.
They killed her. You're saying they killed her.
I know they killed her.
Huh.
And I'll tell you who killed her. How's that?
Go ahead.
Robert Kennedy. Had her killed.
Robert Kennedy, the guy who worked for the government.
The guy who
Busted all
was Attorney General
yeah.
at the time. No. This happened
John
in
F.
Calhoun.
Kennedy's brother, Robert Kennedy.
Yeah. Well, as you remember, I said in the show, I heard him on the radio. I was 7 years old, and I stayed with him until he died. Sinatra changed my life. One of my mentors.
This is Sinatra and Gianni together.
You know where this was? Ronald Reagan's birthday party.
Ronald Reagan's birthday party.
Yeah, they had it at NBC Studios. They did a special. And that night, the President of the United States, he was yet, he wanted everybody to call him Dutch. That was his nickname. And every movie star in the world was there. And people said, what's he doing over here? Because they knew it.
Yeah.
No, but Frank, Frank produced that show also. It was an NBC special.
Well, Mr. Russo, I want to thank you for filming this amazing episode. And like I said, this is going to be more like a movie. Everybody, thank you for all the support you have given. Please subscribe for so much more content is on the way. And I hope you have a great day.
And remember, I'm his new uncle. You better subscribe or you're going to find a horse's head in your bed.
We're family now.